Hey, good afternoon, class. How are you this fine day? Hopefully it's not too warm of a day. It's a little bit earlier right now, it's still a little overcast. I hope it stays that way. Okay, so today we have a safety training, and this should be our last one for this month, so we're all cut up, which is a good thing. What we're going to go over today, though, is missing person. So what to do if you get separated from group, or what to do if, well, if anybody's ever separated from the group and they ask you what to do, say they get a hold of you on the phone or something like that, and they're wondering, I'm not sure what to do. Well, this is what we do in the case of a missing person. So, and this is good for me as well as staff. We should all know what to do, and like these trainings, and what we should do in order to make sure that people are safe while out in the community. So a lot of these are questions, but they're really kind of guidelines. So we're going to go over this more of a guideline than a question answer sort of thing. But of course, I always implore you to ask any questions that you may have about this. And, always feel free to ask me questions and to make suggestions, or, come up with things that you've noticed and say, hey, what about this? We could do this differently, and things like that. So let's start with number one. The most important thing that you can do, and that people must do going out in the community, is what? This is the most important thing, as it says. It is to stay with the group. So make sure you're always staying with the group. And of course, if you're going somewhere, you'll want to let your staff know, or let somebody else in the group know, hey, this is where I'm going to go. There are times you need to use the restroom. Just make sure somebody knows, just like that's, and this is for staff as well. Like, I need to go from the group for just a second. Say, I want you all to wait here for me. I've got to go do this. I should be back within this amount of time. But stay with the group. That is the most important thing to do. Number two, before going out into the community at any time, a person should always first make sure he or she is carrying what item. And what should you always have on you? I'd show you mine, but it's a YouTube video, so I don't want to show it to everyone. But you should have your ID. You should have your photo ID, be it a driver's license or an identification card. But you should have that. And of course, what information can be found on this? It has all the relevant information about you that a police officer would need in terms of helping you find your way back to where you need to be, so you can stay safe. So it'll have your height, your weight, your eye color, things like that. Those are helpful in identifying characteristics. So if they had to describe you to somebody, then they could. But most importantly, it would have your address on it and things like that. And make sure that you keep your address updated on your ID. It's an important thing to do. If you move, it's best to update your ID as well. Your address on your ID. And if you ever become separated from the group, what should you always do? And this is always. You should stay where you are. Don't wander around looking for the group. What happens is you get more lost that way. So stay where you are. If you notice, oh man, I don't know where the group is. Stay where you are. Don't panic. Don't run off looking for people. If you have a phone, that's when you should immediately use your phone. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. But again, you want to stay with the group. Stay where you are. You won't be lost if you have to stay where you are. So stay where you are. You don't want to wander around, because that's the last place somebody would know to look for you. So no matter where it is, just, stay where you are. And then people can retrace their steps, because that's what we as staff are trained to do as well, is to retrace our steps and be like, okay, where's the last time we saw this person? We'd ask other members of the group and things like that until we locate you. But if you're moving from that spot, then there's not much we can do. Number 4, should you go with a stranger who says he or she can help you find everyone else? No, don't do that. Again, the main word in that sentence is stranger. You don't know who they are. You don't know what their intentions are. So no. And what should you tell the stranger? Say, no, thank you, I'm just fine. I'm just waiting for someone, or really you don't have to say much at all, but just let them know, say, no, I'm fine. And like we went through with the last one, like staying safe while you're out in the community, if the person becomes a little more pushy, then you want to really be adamant with telling them, I'm fine, leave me alone, please. And then if you have to make a scene, make a scene. If you have to. Number 5, if while on an outing someone gets separated from the group and is lost, what should the rest of the group do? Well, the one thing, the rest of the group should stay together. That's what they should do. Don't separate. Don't go anywhere else to try to find the person, because then more people could get lost. So what you want to do is make sure we stay with the group, and collectively as a unit all together, we're going to go around and try to locate that person. And yeah, so it says, should the rest of the group split up and go looking for the missing person without telling the staff member? Like I said, no, that's a bad idea. Instead of one person lost, that's many people lost. Number 6, while on an outing, a person leaves the group to make a quick stop at a convenience store to buy a drink. Rather than going off by herself without informing anyone first, how could she have more safely handled this situation? Well, what they should do is let the staff know. Just like even if it was, say, where we go and gas up, take somebody else with you. Say, hey, will you come inside with me real fast? Take somebody in the group with you, and always let the staff member know. Just say, hey, I'm going to pop in real fast and get a drink. I'll be right back. But letting more people know is always good. There have been times where I'm getting ready to go, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, they're buying a drink. But, make sure that you let the staff know. Because sometimes people forget, if you just walk away. And typically we count everybody, but, when it's a group of 6 people, you can forget. So make sure you tell somebody. And number 7. Why is it not a good idea to wander away from your group when in the community, or to leave the program work site without telling anyone? Well, it's kind of the culmination, because then you become a missing person possibly, or you get lost. And it's not a fun feeling to be lost out in the community. Honestly, it's one of the worst feelings. So the best thing to do is to make sure you stay with the group and not wander off. Or it's the same thing as well. Like, I'm not naming names, but it's also unsafe. Like, say we're on an outing and we go for a hike or something like that, and we're in a group of people. It's unsafe for someone to just walk far ahead of the entire group, so that, not everybody can keep an eye on you. Because, again, you could become a lost person. Say you get too far ahead, and somebody else too far back behind, they double back, and say the trail splits or something like that, and you go somewhere that the rest of the group isn't ready to go. It's best to stay with the group. Always stay within eyeshot. Always within eyeshot. So that, we make sure that we avoid this. Okay, well, this has been about 10 minutes. So, and there's definitely more safety in the community. So we will continue this tomorrow. But that's what we do when we're in the community. Number 1, stay with the group. Always stay with the group. What else should you also have? You should always have identification, so that if you did get lost, then you could identify yourself. But while you're staying in place for the staff to come back and find you. And also, please let people know, especially staff, if you did want to go buy something or anything like that, just let a staff member know. Say, hey, I'm going to go over here and do this. So, please make sure that we're doing that. The more we do that, the safer we are, and the more fun outings can be. And luckily, thus far, I've not had a problem with losing a group member. So let's keep it that way. It's best for everyone. Anyway, I miss y'all. Hope to see y'all soon. Ciao for now. Till tomorrow with the last of the. Tomorrow will be the official last of the trainings for this month. Anyway, bye everybody.